unlike anything you've ever heard before. The pinnacle of sound experience. Jacked and Canned. Featuring John Tessman and Colbz Tyler. A place where you will get the information you crave and hear about the topics that you love. Presented by themselves. Coming to you from the basement, bar, and the bedroom. Sponsored by no one. Jacked and Canned.
Just took a real serious jump into live, John.
That was a real serious jump into live.
I didn't realize when I pressed the button, it was just immediately going to start playing, and I had to hit live right just then and there.
It's all part of it, man. Now you're in control. Colbz is in the control room, ladies and gents. I am on the road. Colbz is in the control room, so he gets the chance to have all the fun tonight running the show.
You got like a crystal clear picture coming out of your car there. You look clearer than I do right now.
Hey, that's what happens, man. T-Mobile life over here. T-Mobile.
I'm telling you, it's looking good. And with that light shining on you, you got like an angelic tone to you.
Hey, that's what happens. That's what happens when you're over here. This is the Hartford lifestyle.
Oh, that's what that is?
This is Hartford, baby. I can feel it. Hartford, West Hartford, Avon, Canton, all of it. All these cities are merging together and blessing me because it's going to be a great day. We even got the moonroof's open.
Oh, look at you. Oh, my God. And I look like I'm a vampire over here hiding from the sunlight.
Hey, I do love Angel and I do love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Alex, if you listen to this episode, shout out to you, the other Buffy fan out there in the world.
Yeah, I'm sure that Al's going to come join for this one episode to listen in on just for her one shout out.
Just send her a clip of it. Colbz, man, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, John? I know you're just getting out of work. You are catching probably the most sober version of me that you've caught in the last, I don't know, year.
What the hell are you drinking? I know lately you've been on the Red Bull kind of game. Is that a sip of a Red Bull?
Yeah, it's a Red Bull.
What is up with you and the Red Bulls lately? I know that you gave them up for months, and then all of a sudden you're back on a Red Bull.
So, John, what happened was me and a coworker of mine decided to quit them together. And then I was able to keep that going up until I got promoted at work. And when I got promoted, day one, I was like, I can't come in here soft. Can't come in here weak. Let me get a Red Bull. Let me get started up in here. And yeah, almost every day since I've had a Red Bull. I had somebody at work telling me yesterday, he says to me, and I like the guy. He's a good guy. Yeah, and I've known him for like 10 years, actually, outside of work. But he comes up to me, he goes, before you open that, I want you to YouTube what it can do to a car windshield. I'm like, no. Like, well, I'm sorry, man. Like, this is my morning. Like, I'm just getting in here. I'm drinking this Red Bull.
Well, what the hell can it do to a car windshield? Is it going to melt like a car windshield? Because I mean,
evidently, it just cracks it to all hell. If you just pour Red Bull on a car windshield, it'll and like throw paper towels on it or something. It'll just break apart the windshield.
Dude, talking about breaking windshields, I'm a little scared. I just drove by a softball field with the little ones playing. I'm like, don't you dare hit a foul ball. Don't you dare hit a foul ball.
Every week, John, every week we launch a ball somewhere out into the road where there's a car driving by, and I just keep waiting for the day that it actually hits a car. Like, I mean, these things are dropping like little missiles right next to cars going by. I'm like, I feel like they should do something about this.
Like, is that liability on the driver? Is anyone truly at fault for a foul ball?
I have no idea. It can't be the guy that's swinging the bat. It's got to be, if nothing else, the rec league, right?
It's got to be the pitcher, because the pitcher's the one that threw the bad pitch. And
it's not necessarily a bad pitch, John.
Hey, they're the one that's making the I know, right? It's really not necessarily a bad pitch. Maybe it's a really good pitch. But yeah, damn, I mean,
if you got a lefty that's got a real strong pull on his ball, then yeah, that has nothing to do with the pitch.
I'm going to blame the pitcher because I was never a good hitter at all in anything. So I'm blaming the pitcher.
All right, that's fair. I'll make sure to let every pitcher know that, hey, if a car gets hit, you're at fault.
They're buying the beers after a softball game, that's for sure.
Oh my God, they better show up with that 5-gallon like cooler, you know, like the Gatorade cooler, but just inside of that needs to be straight beer.
Are softball games still a big after party? Still a big after party after the game takes place?
It depends on what time the game is, because a lot of us have to get up early for work. Granted, for me now, I'm going straight to work from softball. But
Oh, that's right. Oh,
yeah, I'm waking up and the first thing I'm doing in my day on Monday is just going and playing a game of softball. I'm like, it's actually, I mean, I guess it's a good way to wake up. At least when I get to work, I'm awake. But I'm kind of like, I go through my cranky, miserable phase at work or at softball. Like, well, my teammates probably don't like me as much now, but whatever.
no, it happens, man. It happens, dude. That seems like it could be. That's just horrible because you got a taste of freedom. You think you got to go to work. I've only done like an overnight every once in a while for work, but never a consistent schedule. Like you're doing third shift now for a month straight. How the hell does that feel?
Well, we're 2 weeks in, exactly at this point, and it's going all right. You know, it's funny because I knew that I'd be able to adjust to it just because I used to all the time with Toys R Us.
Yeah.
But that was it was 3 months out of the year, so I really got into a rhythm with it. And B, I was younger. So I wasn't sure how it was going to be adjusting to it in my 30s, but it really didn't take me as long as I thought. I've got the system down pretty good. I'm actually happy that I had to get up a little bit earlier today to record with you because I've been going to bed at noon for like actually since my dishwasher install. When I got the dishwasher installed on Monday, I had to stay up because the guy was in there installing it. I can't just go to bed in the middle of him being in my place, you know? So I stayed up until like 11 with him being there. And then I just ended up being up for like another hour. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I couldn't not go to bed also at noon. So I'm like, okay, it's probably time we change this anyway, because come Monday, I'm gonna have softball again. Or actually, you know what? No, I won't. It's 4th of July. We're definitely gonna have the day off from softball.
Colbz, random question for you. The appliance guy that was installing the dishwasher. Are you one of the types of dudes that's going to hover over and just make sure everything's going correct and not stealing anything on you?
Yeah, I just told him what he was doing wrong the whole time.
No, but for real, did you kind of hover over and like, hey, can I get you anything? You want water? You want this?
No,
you want that?
I wasn't hovering. I kept going upstairs and then I kept coming downstairs when I would remember something because at one point, like I saw like a the power access to it, and I was like, oh shit, did he need me to kill the power? So I came like running downstairs. I'm like, hey dude, real quick, do you need me to kill any power? It's like, no, you're good. I'm like, you sure? Okay.
That's awesome because when you had that going on just a few days ago at the apartment, we had somebody come by that's going to be painting up the whole place. Colbz, awkward, right? Like Rose already left for work. I'm leaving for work too. It's about 6:50 in the morning. And the painter's just outside. I'm like, hey man, how you doing? He's like, good, good. I'm like, do you need a key to get in there? He's like, nah, I got one. So a thought came to my mind. I'm like, man, that is so dicey. Like people like you think you have your own keys to your own place, and it's like even the painter has a key to my apartment. It's like, what the frick is that, man? Like,
yeah, I don't know that I love that so much necessarily.
But I have to say, Colbz, the paint job that this guy did, it looks amazing. The cameras that he installed have me concerned. Why the hell are you going to be putting cameras up there without my knowledge unless you're not plotting a Saw game? I'm only kidding, man. He didn't put no cameras in there, but Jesus, that's the last thing I want. I think I'm chilling, finally get a night to relax on the brand new couch, kick back, watch XFL 3.0. I could see it. The game, they're about to score a touchdown. The lights flicker, the camera comes on, and a little Saw guy comes out, all because the paint guy has to be going out and doing something outrageous, dude. I hope it doesn't come to that.
John, I want to play a game.
Exactly. The only game I'm trying to play is XFL 3.0. Please release it on Xbox One and PS4. Actually, what the hell am I talking about, dude? They got PS5 and Xbox whatever now. I'm really old.
Wait, did whatever Xbox's newest iteration is, did that already drop?
I'm pretty damn sure, dude. Man, we sound old. I never thought that would happen. I thought I was hip back then, you know? I thought it was
I
hip.
didn't
I
I
was like,
legitimately haven't heard of it. I've heard of the PS5. I've played on a PS5.
you know what I hate? Because when I was younger, I always thought that adults were hacking words intentionally, like Pokemon or Sega Genesis, even though I never heard anybody say Sega
I was gonna
Genesis.
say I never heard anybody say that. Genesis has been a word for like all of time. It was in the Bible.
Well, that's very true. I'm trying to think of something. Nintendo Woo instead of the Nintendo Wii. How can you mispronounce Wii and say Woo? Are you playing your Nintendo Woo again? So
Let's just stick to what we know. They did call it Pokemon.
there you go. There you go. But I feel like that right now because I don't even know what the new generation of the Xbox is. I guess it's called the Xbox Series X, I think.
Creative.
We're going to get haters out there.
Yeah, no, John, the one thing that I think I connect with better as a character than anybody else at this point in my life. Do you remember in the Austin Powers movies when Dr. Evil's trying to connect with Scotty and he's he's doing the I'm hip, I'm with it, and then starts just doing the Macarena, but singing
Yeah.
like that's pretty much what I feel like now when I'm around kids. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
I don't know either. Just think of it this way, too, from a DJ standpoint. I know I'm going to be retiring from that industry within the next 5 years because the music is totally going to transition. Like right now, fortunate enough that people that I'm booking with are pretty much right around our age. Well, you phase that out another 5 years, forget it, dude. I'm going to be lost when it comes to the music because I think a lot of it is more techno and everything along those lines, Colbz, because a sad thing happening, and you probably didn't catch on to this yet because I know you don't go on these clubs. Music clubs, including down as late. Quite a few of them been shutting the doors. No more live music at some of these places. I think it has to do with a whole bunch of different factors, inflation being one of them. Sad to see.
Yeah, John, one of the things I was going to mention also in the way of aging and how it's not going quite so gracefully for me specifically, and I'm sure you as well, is I've started putting the word the in front of like, yeah, John, your audio is all messed up. You're coming through all sorts of weird. So I'm just going to take it over here while you're in a little bit of a lull. One of the things that I started doing is I've noticed now I'm referring to like TikTok, for example. I'm calling it the TikTok. So I'm getting into all sorts of old people habits where I'm sure that soon it's going to be something that is absolutely terrible. And I got to think from your end too, when you talk about music, John, I stopped listening to music, new music anyway, about 9 years ago. I remember when I was 22 years old, I said, you know what? I don't think that I'm cut out for this because everything that's new today, it's just not connecting with me anymore. So what I'm trying to get myself into here, there we go. All right, I got Johnny back in here with me.
Oh, yeah.
So, John, I just filled some time there. The two things that you missed is one of the things I started referring to as an old man is I started putting the word the in front of things that don't belong. So like when I start referring to TikTok, I'm saying the TikTok. And when you had brought up new music, I'm totally with you because I stopped listening to new music 9 years ago. Like outside of just like new things that Godsmack or Avenged Sevenfold or Eminem puts out, I do not listen to new music. It's just artists that are at least 20 years old that I'm just recycling whatever their new stuff is.
Unless it comes back and it becomes popular all over again, were the bands that we once loved and they were big back in the early 2000s end up becoming huge again.
This is one thing that I'm curious about because we've seen this happen where there's different bands that become larger than what they were even in their prime just because they get recycled that way. We saw, I mean, the Beatles were huge when they were out, but people of all generations love the Beatles. We see bands like the Rolling Stones do that. Metallica had a pretty nice surge, probably about at this point 10 years ago or so, where a lot of people started wearing Metallica shirts again. Who are going to be the damn bands that actually make that comeback? I got my money on Disturbed because they were somebody that was big enough that they carried in their time. And also, I think they'll be like one of those bands that people will be like, yeah, man, Disturbed was good.
That is a good point. Unless Kiss is still kicking around in 20 years and they're still on a farewell tour. They've always...
Well, yeah. Kiss is always on a farewell tour. For all of time, Kiss is on their last tour.
Which is amazing. Hey, I'm a fan of it. I like Kiss and everything like that. I don't know how those guys do what they do, but genius marketing for dressing up, by the way, Colbz. We need to start dressing up on the Jacked and Can show. That's the way we're going to get everybody watching. Right, listeners?
Yeah. John, it's like 85 degrees outside, and I don't have air conditioning downstairs. I'm pretty good in my t-shirt.
Fair enough, dude. The way that I would probably envision dressing up too would be an 80s hairband, and that sounds kind of hot to be 85 degrees.
Yeah, it's a good point, especially when you drop the wig on. So, John, one of the things, only because I promised it in our video description for today. So before we get to cracking a cold one, we need to have this talk. Blue cheese or ranch?
All day long, gonna be blue cheese. Originally, I was more of a ranch fan, but I kind of evolved from there. Like, I know it's a lot of people's go-to if they're eating those buffalo boneless wings and everything like that. But, dude, once you have blue cheese a couple times and you have good blue cheese, it's going to change your taste buds, I promise. I'm hoping that you're with me with blue cheese here.
No, I am, John, and that was actually why I brought it up, is because I was sure that you would be on the other side, because I'm 100% sure that this world is 50-50 on this, or maybe if nothing else, 60-40 in favor of ranch. So people that don't like blue cheese, they hate blue cheese, dude. Like, they hate blue cheese. I think blue cheese is like one of the gifts that we were given in life. I think it's the best dipping sauce that there is out there. It goes great with wings. It goes great as a salad dressing. It goes great to dip pretty much anything into. Like, you can just give me chips, I'll dip that right into blue cheese.
See, I'm not sure if I could do that with blue cheese with chips, because that might change it up for me, but I've never tried it. I've only eaten it with wings, and I think in salad dressing. That's it.
Have you not really heard that just so many people hate blue cheese? I don't understand it.
I don't know what they have against it. Maybe it's because cheese is in it and it's automatically being disqualified for everybody that hates cheese, which I don't understand how you can even hate cheese. I get how your body can't handle cheese, but even if you have some sort of issue where you can't digest it, like, you need to still eat it because it's that damn good. It is just too good.
my secondary thing that I wanted to dive into here, John, and I don't know where you stand here either. How do you feel about Fritos?
Oh man, Fritos, haven't had them in forever. I was never a huge snacker when it came to those kind of things. Fritos, I know those were a big thing pretty much in the early 2000s and the 90s, but I kind of forgot all about it. I didn't even know they were still making them.
No, see, I've noticed that. Really, John, you didn't know they still made them. You realize that the Lay's company, it's called Frito-Lay.
Yeah, but I don't eat chips. I don't eat Fritos. I don't even eat potato chips. I can't remember the last time I had a potato chip.
No, I mean, that's fair. I don't really eat a lot of chips either. But with that said, I noticed that a lot of people were just like, Fritos, get them out of here. I think Fritos are a very underrated chip.
You know what's an underrated thing that ain't around too much anymore? Maybe it still is. A Twinkie. I remember eating a bunch of those when I was younger. Now you can't find them.
They stopped making them, John. Hostess had to shut down.
Why the hell do they have to shut down? What's going on with that? Why do we still got Frito chips and not Hostess?
John, I'm pretty sure Hostess shut down like 6 or 7 years ago.
Oh, God.
It's been a while.
Cracking a cold one with Colbz on a sad note, Colbz. I don't know. You might have to give me 30 seconds just to recover after that, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize that I broke that news for you. So we will go ahead and do that, John. I'm going to cut this here and I'm going to sprint to grab a beer. Get ready to crack a cold one with Colbz. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. That's just the ticker. Oh, I got to go back to the brand thing. Oh, God. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cracking a Cold One with Colbz. John, you got something fun and interesting for this audience while I go ahead and get into this beer?
Absolutely. Something fun and interesting is, ladies and gents, now that Colbz is back on the Red Bull game, he's doing something that I found was kind of disgusting. He's mixing Red Bull with Coors Light. So how can you do that, Colbz? I've heard of Red Bull and vodka, but Red Bull and Coors Light,
I'm not putting them into a glass together and drinking them as a whole unit. I'm just having a Red Bull and also having a Coors Light.
Maybe you need to mix them together, both of them, just like a Red Bull and vodka. Make a mixed drink out of it. It might be good. I don't know. You'll have to test it out.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that, John, but I appreciate the offer. So, John, today, wait for it. Today, cracking a cold one with Colbz. I haven't really interacted with people for the last 2 weeks. It's just this one guy at work, Jeff, and Jeff's a good guy. I like Jeff. He's the only person I've really talked to in the last 2 weeks. So now I'm finding myself in a strange place where just in like general settings where I'm not interacting with people at all in the correct manner. So like, for example, somebody would be coming in and they'll be like, "Hi, Colby." And I'm like, "Hi." Like, why the hell am I yelling at him? Like, what am I doing? And there will be times when people are like, "Oh, Colbz, how have you been?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, that's not me at all. What am I doing? Why am I being an asshole to everybody?
Why is that happening?
John, I think it's just because I haven't been around people. Like I legitimately, John, I just went over and got this Red Bull a minute ago, and I was just walking across the street, and there was there were like 3 cop cars outside of the 7-Eleven, and all I'm thinking to myself is I'm like, please, like, please just don't be upset with me for crossing the street right now, like, because my interaction skills are poor. I don't want this to escalate.
Oh no, yeah, your body language give off a total bad vibe, and the officer's like, "Oh, really?"
Gonna be like, "Hey, there's a crosswalk right down the street," and I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, well, you know what? You have a car, you can get out of here."
Next thing you know, you're locked up.
Yep, doing 5 to 15.
Jaywalking, cracking a cold the good way. That's when you need to crack one right in front of an officer and see what happens then.
Oh, see, that was tempting too. I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just rip one of these? Because I also got an 18 pack. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I should just drop this thing down right outside the front of the 7-Eleven and just rip one of these right in front of them, toss it in the trash can behind me, and then walk back across the street.
Hell yeah, Colbz. That ain't a bad decision right there. Colbz,
I feel like that might be a bad decision. Not gonna lie. I feel like that would probably go poorly for me.
Random public service announcement. For all you Connecticut listeners out there, there's something called Oyster Fest that's going to be going down in Milford, Connecticut.
Oh, about the Blue Oyster Cult.
Dude, heck yeah. You said Blue Oyster Cult? Blue Oyster Cult? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Well, hell yeah with that. You know who's going to be playing at this thing? Scott Stapp from Creed.
Blue Oyster Cult?
That would be nice. Creed.
Oh, really?
Colbz, you got to go down. This is an open invite to the listeners out there. We know we have a couple of listeners down in Stamford, Stratford, Milford line. So we're going to see you over there. I don't know if Colbz is going to go, though, to it, but he might be working third
No,
shift.
if I mean, this is no offense to any of our fans or viewership that is out that direction, but my least favorite part of this state is pretty much that exact area.
Why?
It's basically North New York.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's way too busy. Way too busy, way too populated. You can't move. There's a line
Exactly.
to get
It reminds me just the same as New York without all the other bullshit you got to deal with in actual New York. Like actual New York, you're also, I mean, no, you know what? I'm going to say it anyway. They're peeling bodies up off the street down there in the Bronx. Like that place, I hate going through the Bronx, man. That's just a shitty place to be. But the southern part of Connecticut, maybe not quite so much of that, but you still get all the shitty people walking up and down the street. You can't go anywhere. It's just like a swarm of people right in your face. You can't drive anywhere. It's landlocked in traffic. It's terrible.
We're getting ready to go into New York City on that cruise pretty soon. A few weeks away from going there. And Colbz, same kind of thing. I was like, yeah, we can hang around New York City for a little while. I'm like, no. I'm like,
yeah, have fun waiting at stoplights in the middle of the Atlantic.
It's cool when you're younger, man. The city trips are real fun, especially for New York, because you see all the big lights and everything like that. But once you've been once, I feel like you've been all the time. It takes a special kind of person to want to live into the city. So if we got any city listeners out there, let us know how you feel about that, because I'm a small town kind of guy. Colbz, I don't even know the part of Florida that you were from. Is it a small town, big city? What was that like?
So it was kind of it's an odd place, John. And I mean that total seriousness. It's so it's probably about 40 minutes from Tampa itself. And it's between two relatively popular towns of Clearwater and St. Petersburg, which are both places that people get homes to, or, you know, whatever the case may be. You see a lot of people in Clearwater and St. Petersburg. So I lived in between the two of them. So it was smaller than the surrounding towns, but the people that were there was a whole mixture of people. You had everything from a little bit more of an urban society to not so much really the retirement people. They typically were closer to the Clearwater area, but I would have, you know, how you get on the news, the Florida man kind of stuff, where you get a guy that's all like messed up on meth and goes and, you know, fights a gator.
Yep.
There was a pretty good bit of that. Like, you know, there was always somebody, you know, I told you about this, John. There was randomly a guy, because I've always lived next to a 7-Eleven apparently my entire life. There was somebody outside the 7-Eleven there that one time was just like, dude, nice shorts. And I'm like, that's a really fucking strange thing to say to a 12-year-old kid walking into a 7-Eleven, but all right.
Yo, that is a weird thing to say. One of the funniest things I've ever heard in my adult life was walking into a bar. I heard another guy walk up to just some other random guy and was like, wow, man, like, I really love your shoulders. Like, what do you do to get them like that? Like,
Yeah, there's times that happens, man. I've had people, I've had people that have no ill will. They just legitimately want to know, like, hey, dude, what do you do? And actually, shoulder specific. That's one of the ones that I've often gotten. Granted, I don't have the same traps that I used to, but that was most of the time. A lot of guys don't realize that your traps are not actually your shoulders. It's a whole different muscle system. It's just kind of attached.
yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't know that at all, because everybody just kind of sums it up with the whole shoulder thing.
Yeah, dude, you got nice shoulders. How'd you get those? Birth.
True, man. True. I love it. Oh, wild times. What else do we got in store for tonight's episode, Colbz?
John, so I was talking to you this morning before I went to bed, which is a strange sentence to make right now, but I was talking. One of the things that I like to do before bed is I go on YouTube and I actually like to learn things. So today, my interest was diving a little bit into the early days of the UFC because John, I don't know if you've ever watched any clips or any video of early UFC from when
Only a few.
it started up. And I mean, back then you could pull dudes' hair, you could kick them in the face while they were on the ground. You could do all sorts of shit that you can't do now. Now they have rules in place for safety precautions, which obviously makes sense, right? But
It was a death cage before.
so what's that, John?
It was a death cage. They were just seeking for destruction and death.
So that's actually going to bring me to one of the two things that I jotted down here as notes. So, John, the original concept for the UFC prior to it actually starting up, becoming a real thing, and apparently TV executives love this idea. Rather than simply a cage, the idea, because they wanted to keep some sort of enclosure where fighters couldn't necessarily escape. So, like in a boxing ring, you have the ropes there. They didn't want anybody falling through the ropes or accidentally falling through the ropes kind of stuff. So they're like, how do we keep these guys in here? And the original three premises that had been come up with that the execs for television loved, which saying that out loud is hilarious when you hear these. One was making the cage an electrical fence.
What?
So that anytime anybody went up against the cage, it just shocked the living hell out of them.
Is that really a concept they were toying with?
That was the least offensive of the three, John. The other two ideas.
Wait a minute. Let me guess here. So going back to that whole painter dude installing cameras in this place, were they contemplating with a whole Saw theme? Is this where Saw got their idea from? Like, was UFC going to have blades on the side of the cages and chopping people up?
Now, when I say this too, John, I don't know whose ideas these were, so I don't want to pin this specifically on any one entity, but it was somebody within the idea-making business of the UFC in its origination at that time. I wouldn't be able to tell you if this was something that more so came from television or if it came from the UFC at that time. I don't know who was responsible for these ideas, so I just want to make that part very clear. But I do have two other things here that were the other ideas, which, John, one of which was an alligator moat. They were just going to have the ring lined with moats of alligators. And along kind of the same lines, they thought about just making it surrounding a giant shark tank.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Well,
John, can you imagine a television executive in today's day and age being like, hell yeah, man, let's have sharks all around this while we're at it?
Oh my gosh, what the hell? That would have brought in some serious ratings and it would have been sued for
and it would have been canceled after one event.
But it would have had some serious ratings for that one event too. It would have broke records, but it would have been canceled right away.
We would know Hoist Gracie is the only champion of the sport because after that, it would have been done.
It would have been straight up like Jaws right there, man. You would have had to get one of the actors from some of the Jaws movies or something. I don't know.
Dude, another thing that's kind of cool from this, and John, I don't know if you know this. I knew this just from knowing the UFC's history, but Hoist Gracie wasn't actually the best of the Gracie family as far as that art went. They actually were going to originally have one of Hoist Gracie's brothers be in the original UFC. And the father of the family, and forgive me, I don't remember any of the rest of their names, but the father of the family said, no, I want to send out my smallest, lesser talented son at this art just to show that even he is better than all the other fighters in the world.
Well, hell, that's an interesting freaking fact right there. I don't even know who that family is, but cheers to them.
You don't know Hoist Gracie?
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, he's the guy that brought Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to the mainstream. He's the guy that actually... so when the UFC started, John, it would be somebody from each art of martial arts. So you would have a boxer in there. You would have a kickboxer. You would have a sumo wrestler. You would have a taekwondo guy, a karate guy. You would have people of all different facets of different martial arts coming in there to fight each other to determine which fighting style is the ultimate fighting style. Royce Gracie brought jiu-jitsu, and the whole point of jiu-jitsu is it doesn't matter how big or small you are. It's actually the whole original premise of jiu-jitsu. And there's two different varieties. There's the original jiu-jitsu that came from Japan, and then there's Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which is the adopted art of today. But it's meant to give smaller people an advantage over a larger fighter, because essentially from that art, there is no advantage of size once you're down on the ground. It's all about strength that you have and ability technically to perform different maneuvers from the ground, that honestly your size doesn't give you an advantage. So that was the whole form of the art, and that was what they were bringing to the table. They're like, look, I know you're bringing in here professional boxers that are going up for championship fights, but this art's better. And that's why by like UFC, I don't know, like, but before the 10th one anyway, everybody that was any good, they had to be at least in tune with Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or else they had no shot at winning.
See, I want to see somebody just do some good old-fashioned karate. I'm talking just karate. That's it. I want to see that, like a Bruce Lee type person in the UFC.
Yeah, John, they wouldn't win any fights. That would be the thing.
I don't know. You get somebody on that level, dude. I'd love to see.
John, I'm telling you, you have to know jiu-jitsu to get into a UFC arena. You cannot be anything in the UFC if you cannot do jiu-jitsu.
All right, Colbz, I'm set out for it, man. I'm going to learn just karate, and I'm going to enter the UFC. They
won't even take you, John.
If I learn karate,
beat dudes in training.
Well, how long will it take me to become a black belt in karate?
John, I don't know. Why I don't do karate, John.
Exactly my point. I could master it overnight. I'm going to be a black. No, I'm only kidding. Somebody's going to be so mad because they're probably a black belt in karate. It looks extremely difficult. Funny story.
You know, Chuck Liddell was. You never saw him using his karate moves for the most part.
For the most part, so maybe there was a couple of one-off moments. That's why he won.
No, I mean, I think the closest guy to being a karate guy in the UFC's era was probably Lyoto Machida, and he was a champion, but he also had a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Karate, extremely hard. I tried it one day in my life. Horrible at it. Did you ever do it?
No, John.
All right, cool. So we're gonna go sign up for it together.
So, John,
that's all I got for that.
The other piece of UFC history that I wanted to take down for you that I didn't know, and I'm assuming if I didn't, you probably didn't. John, you know Big John McCarthy, the ref? Oh, God, did John just freeze on me again? Oh, nope, there he is. Okay. So, Big John McCarthy, his whole deal was he was actually originally a cop and happened to be at a UFC event and saw somebody unconscious on the ground being beat. And the refs back then couldn't stop the fight. The corner had to throw in the towel. So the corner refused to throw in the towel, even though their dude was unconscious. And Big John McCarthy was yelling so loudly from the crowd for them to stop, and then ended up doing a whole series of basically going around almost on like a media tour saying, hey, the sport needs to be able to have the referees stop the fight. That they ended up not only instituting that as a rule, but making Big John McCarthy into one of the original UFC referees that had this ability.
What the hell? I had no idea on that backstory.
Me neither. I had no idea he was a cop. I just thought he was just a trained fighter his whole life, and he just ended up being a UFC ref because he was maybe a little bit too old to be an actual fighter. I had no idea. Oh, God. John's breaking up on me. This is the problem when John goes in and out from work, because John goes through like 84 dead zones. Every time that like we call each other on the phone when he's getting out of work, we'll talk for, almost 2 hours sometimes. But it's just a series of John going through dead spots.
That's what it is, man. T-Mobile.
Oh, there it is. He's back.
T-Mobile Life, baby. Podcast brought to you by T-Mobile. 5G
It
hotspot
gave a
everywhere you
clear
are.
picture when John was leaving work, and now we have a blurry ass John, and he's in and out from audio perspective.
That's what happens. It's content gold. Welcome to the Jacked and Can Show, ladies and gents. Appreciate you.
John, as we're getting closer and closer to the end of this episode, oh my God, John, we're going to be doing the round table here not too long from now. And I tell myself every summer, I'm like, why don't I just admit that the NBA is my favorite sport? Because every summer I fall so much in love with the NBA between the end of the regular season, the playoffs, the offseason. It is all so much fun. And then just inevitably every year, the reason that I don't is because the fall comes around and then football comes back. And then I remember, oh, that's right. There's this other thing that I love probably more.
And the season has something to do with it as well. When you get older, the more you love fall time, like myself. I used to love summer. Now summer is my second least favorite, right behind winter. Fall's my favorite.
No, summer all the way, man. That's what's pissing me off right now about these overnights. Is I'm like, man, I'm 31 years old. I only got so many good summers left, and I'm wasting one of them right now.
That is so sad but true. Like Metallica made a song for. Sad but true right there, Colbz.
That's right.
You're losing your last summer. And now are you staying on third shift? Like, are you keeping that same time going, even for yourself when you're not working like this weekend?
Yeah. I woke up at about 4:45 today, and I'll go to bed probably around 9 in the morning, and then I'll be up at 5 p.m. tomorrow, and then I'll probably go to bed at about 5 on Sunday morning. I'll get up at about 5 Sunday evening, or 9 rather, Sunday morning. I'll wake up at about 5, and the saga continues.
Well, that's all right. A lot of people adapt and they adjust their schedule to it. I'm surprised you're not trying to do that either, trying to live it up on the weekends. You're sticking with the schedule. You're dedicated.
Oh, dude, if they would have given me this schedule 10 years ago, I would be an absolute shit show on the weekends. Could you imagine at 21 years old, me doing overnights and they're like, hey, your 2 nights off are Friday and Saturday? I would have lived at the Rocking Horse. I would not have left the Rocking Horse. I would just be there for 2 straight days.
Oh my God. Yeah. You would have been great for that at that point. Everybody else would have been fading at like 2 o'clock in the morning at that time. And you would have just been like starting.
I would have been waking up. Let's go. Let's go.
No, dinner time. Genie with the weenies. Give me 5 hot dogs. I'm hungry.
Give me all those hot dogs. I need some protein.
Yeah, it's dinner time for me.
Dude,
I love it.
I've been thinking about it, and every time that I say it, because at work people are asking me, they're like, "What days are you off?" Because I feel like you're always here. I'm like, "No, I'm off Fridays and Saturdays." They're like, "Oh, you're off Friday night and Saturday night?" I'm like, "Yeah, that doesn't do shit for me now."
No.
Like all it actually means is that Michelle usually works later, so I have even less time with her.
Damn, Colbz.
Yeah, well, I know it's rough.
You need to start coming out with me to these weddings then. That's what it needs to be. You need to start coming out to me with these weddings.
Well, I can't go tomorrow because I'm going to Hobbies for UFC 276.
Ooh, any predictions, anything like that before we jump off the episode here?
Not necessarily from a prediction standpoint. I am really excited about both the co-main event and the main event. We got Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway in the co-main event for the, I believe, the featherweight championship, featherweight. I am very excited about that because Max Holloway is one of those guys that he's just as good as all the champions are in this weight class. And he has 7 losses to his resume, which you don't see like Volkanovski's got 1, but Max Holloway can beat anybody on any given night. So I'm excited about that fight. And then we got Israel Adesanya versus Jared. I want to say he says it Cannonier, I believe is how he says his last name. I'd have to hear it again because I'm still a little bit unfamiliar with him. Although I know that guy's got some slugging power. So this is going to be interesting. Adesanya is definitely going to have a reach advantage there because Adesanya is kind of built a little bit in like the Anderson Silva body frame. And that one should be an exciting fight just to see where the fireworks come from, because I'm sure we're going to see some. It could go either way. So I'm really excited about those fights, but I don't necessarily have predictions. If I had to guess, I'd say the champions probably hold on just because usually champions are champions for a reason, but I wouldn't be shocked to see an upset there. We also, oh God, we get Robbie Lawler, get to see him fight. We haven't seen him in a while. He was fighting Robbie Lawler. He was somebody that was towards the top of the food chain in the welterweight division back when like GSP was still like kind of toward the end of his reign. Lawler was making his way up there. So Lawler at this point, he's kind of a past his prime fighter from what I understand. And I also understand that he goes back and forth from middleweight to welterweight, but yeah, he's a name that I know, that I remember from back when I used to watch previously. So he's somebody that I'm excited to see out there again.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, well, you'll have to keep us posted after a little post-fight interview. Maybe you'll do a little live sesh with Javi.
Actually, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I think the audience would find Javi endearing too. You've met him. He's a nice guy.
Hell yeah. Now that Colbz knows how to run the board and run everything over there on his end,
I know.
Keep an eye out.
This has been the biggest like win from doing Nobody Is Shiftier, outside of obviously getting to do a whole second show that I really enjoy doing, is that doing Nobody Is Shiftier has taught me how to use StreamYard myself. John just taught me how to do like that 30-second thing and do the intro. I had never done any of that. I just hit go live and I record for like 50 whatever minutes when I do Nobody Is Shiftier. But I at least had a little bit of a base, and now that I know where all the stuff is, Johnny, looks like I got this on lock.
You do, man. Give a quick plug for your new show.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So what we got coming on Nobody Is Shiftier this week is I had recorded an entire show, and what I have found in doing this show, or I didn't record it, I wrote it down. Everything changed the day after because the NBA offseason moves so damn quickly that there is no way around it. I had to change the entire show. But we're going to talk a lot about the NBA offseason in Nobody Is Shiftier this week, which you will find under the Breaking Down the Tape platform.
Hell yeah. And make sure to check us out too. Jacked and Canned. We get the roundtable episode coming out pretty soon. JackedandCanned.com. Jacked and Canned everywhere. Check out Breaking Down the Tape. Colbz, any last words?
That's all I got, Johnny.
Woo! Let's get out of here. Roundtable
Ladies
coming up soon.
Gentlemen, this has been Jacked and Canned.
Check us out. Check him out.